Motocross, and they're away.
And it was Gall and Flood who went out into the lead. Going around the first corner, they momentarily went out of sight. Gall and Flood were in the lead. Gall leading narrowly from Flood, but then Gall slipped out by the way somewhere, and it was Flood who went into the lead. Number 5, Trevor Flood, gone into the lead of Leg 2 of Mr. Motocross.
And right behind him, Kelly Granquist, then Stephen Gall. Stephen Gall already back in the 3rd position. And again, no sight of Anthony Gunter, the defending Mr. Motocross champion, back in the pack somewhere.
It was South Australian riders who were holding the placings after 3rd, and it's number 5.
Trevor Flood narrowly holding out Kelly Granquist, the Super Swede, who won round 1. Flood in 3rd position after round 1 of Mr. Motocross. Stephen Gall leading the Mr. Motocross Championship up until now, back in 5th position with 6 points, and Anthony Gunter in 7th position with 5 points. Trevor Flood takes an outside line. Kelly Granquist, a far more economic line, looking for traction now up the bumpy back straight. And there he goes, Kelly Granquist side by side with Trevor Flood, and snatches the lead through the bog. On the outside of the bog, there's Stephen Gall. Kelly Granquist in the lead. Takes a precautionary dab of his foot now as he comes up the hill, up the long hill leading to the Pepsi Forest. Nothing is going to stop Kelly Granquist, the invincible Super Swede, in today's Pepsi Golden League Mr. Motocross. Through the quarry for the first time and up onto the main straight. Lining up for the jump and so high over TAA jump. Flying over the TAA jump.
Number 78, Kelly Granquist, down along straight there, and holding a very good lead. It looks like a repetition of the first leg when Granquist eventually took the lead and held it all the way. Kelly Granquist holding that bike up by sheer power. You can see that leg go out and literally lift the bike back up on straight line again.
In 2nd position, Trevor Flood from Victoria. In 3rd, Stephen Gall. In 4th position, Terry Witzel, the South Australian rider on a Honda. Then comes Mr. Motocross, Anthony Gunter, back in 5th place.
78, Kelly Granquist, over that small jump there. Granquist putting out a precautionary leg. Someone is down. It looks like a South Australian rider, Ken Bowie, being worked on by the St John ambulance, but it's certainly having no slowing effect on Kelly Granquist. Kelly has been in the lead so much today that his bike is even almost clean.
Granquist, in fact, had a problem in practice today. He seized his motorcycle. It came to a dead halt out on the circuit, and Granquist had to pull the engine down and, in fact, replace the piston before the start of the Pepsi Golden Breed Mr. Motocross. So, while, in fact, Granquist is out there in the lead, he feels that there's no guarantee that the same sort of seizure may not happen again.
Already, Granquist starting to go past slower riders who are having troubles in these muddy conditions. But it's certainly no problem to Granquist. You can see him literally lifting that machine around from side to side of the circuit, picking out a path through there. A little channel's already been dug, down the quarry, out of the quarry, and into the big main straight, over the jump.
Trevor Flood, 3.8 seconds behind in 2nd position. The race much slower than it's been in the dry conditions last year. Last year the races were run in about 9.5 minutes. This time we're getting about 10.5 minutes a lap. A rider down, he's got the bike trapped on top of him, another rider's rushing through, but he's waiting until they get through before someone comes across to pick him up. Meantime, Granquist skipping and hopping on his way to the win, keeping the front end of the bike loose in the air so that he can get maximum traction on the back wheel and not bog down. His big leg reaching out, trying to look for traction. He reaches up through his helmet, pulls off one of his tear-off goggles. These are there so that the riders can actually have clear vision for the entire race. They run 3 tear-off goggles on top of their normal goggles. They're simply cheap throwaway plastic lenses, and as they start to mud up, the riders simply reach up and pull a tag and pull one of the goggles off. Granquist, his back wheel, skipping and hopping all over the circuit there, and there is in 2nd place is Trevor Flood through Taylor Yamaha corner. You can see the distance between it. Kelly Granquist on the right of your screen, Trevor Flood now coming around to the right as well. In 3rd position, still Stephen Gall. In 4th position, still the South Australian Terry Witzel. In 5th position, number 1V, that's Anthony Gunter on the Team Pepsi Suzuki.
And it's interesting to note that that first South Australian Witzel on a 250cc machine and holding it up against riders like Granquist where others are having trouble. Grandquist riding one hand, tears his grip off. No other could do it, I feel sure. And Grandquist maintaining that lead. Picks his sport, of course, when he tears off. But down into the quarry.
Grandquist came to Australia an outsider in this sort of competition. He's a long-distance rider. He's used to 30-minute, and he almost came off there. A really hard landing, testing the rear suspension of his bike and the rear tyre of his big 400cc Husqvarna. But Grandquist, a long-distance rider, he's had a lot of difficulty adjusting to the short sprint style of four heats and 6 laps of Mr. Motocross. But today, he's proving himself invincible in this competition.
And as the race progresses, you can see that the tyres are digging down further and they're getting into the harder, drier ground, which, if the rain keeps off, will give for faster racing in those closer laps.
Witzel succumbs to the pressure from Mr. Motocross, Anthony Gunter. Gunter now moves up into 3rd position in the motocross. And there he is, Anthony Gunter. Mr. Motocross for the last... Oh, and he's off! And so is Grandquist.
And Grandquist
missed it as well.
Grandquist
there they
picking up.
both are. Both are in the same position. There's Trevor Flood now, right up on the tail of Pelle Grandquist, searching for a way through. The yellow flag out, warning of danger. There's somebody off up ahead as well. Grandquist and Flood now, side by side. But Flood loses out. Look at Grandquist. After a lose like that, he simply gets back on and keeps going so hard. And from having Flood right on his tail, Grandquist has already moved out a 10-metre lead over Trevor Flood, the flying Victorian. Flood, of course, the initial Mr. Motocross, won the championship in 1974. He's now the old man of motocross, almost 27 years of age. Yellow flag out again and another rider down. He doesn't stop Grandquist. He rides straight past him.
Number 78, Pelle Grandquist, picking his path through there and forging ahead again after almost coming off. Flood falling virtually level with him. Then Grandquist lifted that bike up and pulled away again.
Through the Pepsi quarry, Pelle Grandquist seeking the hard packed surface on the outside of that quarry. It's hard to describe, but that quarry is so muddy that riders earlier today in junior races, riders less experienced than people like Grandquist, were in fact bogging down on that hill and having to get off and ask for assistance to push their bikes up the hill before they could remount and continue in the race.
Conditions are certainly atrocious here at Clarendon in South Australia, giving the riders a sample of every form of terrain before the Mr. Motocross will be selected. Dry weather in Queensland, wet in Clarendon. What will round 4 be? Who will be Mr. Motocross?
Pelle Grandquist in the lead, in an easy lead now. He's moved out from Trevor Flood again. Watch his body working in unison with the motorcycle, working as a perfect team to make this motorcycle leap and bound across the track. See how he goes to the outside. He's looking for all the hard-packed ground he can find. He's not looking for the shortest way around the track. He's looking for the quickest way around.
A little bit of harder ground starting to show through there now, and Grandquist has the happy knack of finding it. He's looking all around and picking that hard bottom where he can get drive. Such a big man, and with the weight that he can apply on that back wheel, he can get the drive where others are sliding. And this is showing out in the performance. Pelle Grandquist.
Start-finish jump for the 4th time. 2 laps to go for Grandquist. Oh, and he almost dismounts the bike there as he puts his foot down to dare, and his foot was flung back up almost over the seat. But Grandquist still in control.
And with the blow flag being shown, Grandquist in his last lap now and looking good to take out 2 legs at least of today's Mr. Motocross round. Pelle Grandquist from Sweden leading comfortably in this 2nd leg of Mr. Motocross.
Certainly the cleanest rider here today, both in terms of his away from people throwing up dust. Grandquist in the lead, Trevor Flood 2nd, Stephen Gall 3rd, and Mr. Motocross himself, Anthony Gunter, in 4th position in this 2nd heat of Pepsi Golden Reed Mr. Motocross at Clarendon in South Australia. There's Stephen Gall. No, that's Anthony Gunter in fourth position. Anthony Gunter in fourth position. He's not riding nearly as cleanly as Granquist. You can see that now. There's Granquist in the lead so easily. His bike, oh, the furrows now starting to work out in this track. This track was graded only yesterday, and it was graded by a furrow. There's Jack Pengelly, the man who came second in the first heat, out of contention in this second heat of Pepsi Golden Breed Mr. Motocross. Granquist starting to work his way up the hill for the last time of the second round. No one's going to catch him now. The only thing that might catch him, in fact, is Granquist himself. He seems to be starting to pour the pace on a little bit for himself when there seems to be absolutely no reason to do so. Up the Pepsi Quarry for the last time. Coming up to the final jump. And the winner of 2 successive heats in a row, Pelly Granquist at Clarendon in the Pepsi Golden Breed Mr. Motocross. Pepsi Golden Breed Mr. Motocross at Clarendon in South Australia. 2 races down, 2 to go. In the lead, the Super Sweet, Pelly Granquist on 30 points. Then Trevor Flood on 22, Stephen Gall 16, Jack Pengelly from Victoria on 15, Mr. Motocross defending champion Anthony Gunter on 13. Stephen Gall lost his rear brake on lap 2 of the last round. Anthony Gunter lost his goggles on round 1. He reached up to pull off a tear-off and pulled the whole goggles off and couldn't see a thing. They're coming up to the gate now. Engines rise and they're racing. Mike Landman from Victoria in the lead. Mike Landman, the man who's riding with a cracked rib. And beside him, his teammate, his village motocross teammate, Trevor Flood. The 2 of them dominating the race. On the outside, Stephen Gall now slams in front of Landman into second position, and the field streams through.
Well, they're well spread out in this event, and it looks like they broke the Granquist domination for the start at least. But can they keep it up?
Trevor Flood in the lead. 27 years of age, the original Mr. Motocross champion, pushing the bike along with his feet as well, looking for every bit of traction he can find. Flood in second position on 22 points. Then comes Gall. Then comes Pelly Granquist up into third position. There's been a fall. A couple of riders down. One of the riders stops to lift the bike off his injured friend, but he's up. No one hurts themselves in Mr. Motocross, not badly. There's the lead. It's been caught out by Trevor Flood. Beside him, Stephen Gall, trying everything he knows now to get up on the Flood. Gall hesitates momentarily, goes round the outside of the bog, now starts to move up the hill. Gall in a bit of trouble there. He went too tight into the corner. But he gets better traction out, and it's Gall. Gall takes over the lead from Trevor Flood, the Victorian. Stephen Gall now. He's got to win this, Mr. Motocross, to stay in the championship. Pelly Granquist back in third position, going easily, but it's all Stephen Gall. Look at the front wheel of his bike come up in the air there. He's seeking traction now. Up through Pepsi Quarry for the first time, and up to the TAA jump. Onto the main straight for the first time, it's Stephen Gall. In second place, Trevor Flood. But Gall riding magnificently. When he gets his dander on, he's the hardest man in the world to beat.
Well, this is going to make a vital difference to it with Stephen Gall out in lead now, picking up points. If he can hold this lead from Granquist, Granquist has shown what a good rider he is, but Stephen Gall has got proven figures behind him, and with the track drying out a little, Stephen Gall in the lead, someone off there being helped out by St John, while the whole stream of riders go past. And it's Stephen Gall who's leading Trevor Flood in round 3 of the Mr. Motocross here
in
Adelaide.
There's Gall. his major compatriot in the Team Pepsi, Anthony Gunter, back in 9th position, well and truly out of the motocross again. It's just not Gunter's day today, but it's starting to become Gall's. Gall is trying so hard now.
Number 2, Stephen Gall, leading at this stage from a whole host of other riders spread out behind, and it looks like Gall's breaking it.
Grandquist now into 2nd position. Grandquist up into 2nd position, and he'll now start to really pile the pressure on. Grandquist has gone through Trevor Flood, and it's now up to Stephen Gall. Can this young 20-year-old rider stay ahead? But look at the distance that Grandquist is breaking up. Grandquist riding so well, but Gall gets the traction out of that corner. Gall took a much better line out of that corner. The way to ride in mud is to make the shortest possible turns and make the longest possible straights, and that's just what Grandquist is doing. But he's taught Gall a lesson or two, and Gall's through, but Grandquist is through. Grandquist goes through in the quarry, and Grandquist, Gall almost came off trying to stay up with him. And now it's Grandquist up into the lead again, and Stephen Gall comes back. Look at the way Grandquist is riding today. He is just so good.
Well, it's certainly Grandquist's day today. I thought that the domination had been broken, but with great fortitude, strength and courage, he pushed through. And it's Billy Grandquist, the flying Swede now, who's gone into the lead in this wet, boggy circuit, being chased by Stephen Gall, who seems to be able to get the feel of things a little bit, much more so than his teammate, Trevor Flood. They just don't seem to be with it. But certainly number 78, Billy Grandquist, has the ability to find hard ground anywhere in this boggy circuit.
1.2 seconds the gap back to Stephen Gall. Already a gap opening up as Grandquist goes for broke. While Grandquist is right down the back of the circuit, Anthony Gunter has only just come through the start-finish line. That's how far behind he is.
There's been a race of changing fortunes in this one, but it's certainly all been Billy Grandquist's race and day. 78, Billy Grandquist, the flying Swede, in leg 3 and streaking out to a good clear lead. Certainly he's earned the lead today, and someone off rolling away there, looking not too happy about things. It's certainly been a day for spills and thrills. Number 18, Chris Wright.
South Australian rider. But there's Grandquist, the victor. Grandquist going so well, bound through the Pepsi quarry yet once again. The man has incredible strength and stamina. He's used to riding 30-minute motocrosses, and not even the heavy track like today seems to tax his strength.
Grandquist has that ability that no matter what happens, he adapts himself immediately to it. He can almost fall to the ground, and those long legs go out, kicks himself right back straight and away again.
The second position, there's second position coming through now. But there's Grandquist, the leader. Landman, the Victorian, back in 5th position in the Mr. Motocross Championship at this stage, behind Jack Pentgalley on bike 12. There's Billy Grandquist in 1st position, and in 2nd and 3rd position we've got Stephen Gall in 2nd and Trevor Flood in 3rd, battling it out.
A whole host of lesser riders going through there, but no
Stephen Gall and
anywhere near.
Stephen Gall in 2nd position. Stephen Gall still trying so terribly hard on the 400cc Yamaha. There's Grandquist in the lead. And in 3rd position, Trevor Flood. Trevor Flood riding well again, but Trevor Flood, a man who knows the percentage game. He knows that if he can't match the pace of the man in front, then the least he should do is try for points and try and keep the bike on the island and to the checkered flag. The old expression goes, to win, you've got to finish first. Back in 4th position, there's Jack Pentgalley, the Victorian, in 4th position. Again, a points rider. And the leader, Pele Granquist, riding for points as well, but they're 15 big points. If he wins this heat at the Mr. Motocross, he will have picked up a maximum 45 points today, which will give him an overall lead in the Pepsi Golden Reed Mr. Motocross Championship for 1978. Granquist lapping in 1 minute 45 seconds. The track is drying out somewhat out here. There hasn't been rain for a while, and Granquist now, even though he's well and truly in the lead, is starting to pour on the pace. He's at least 5 seconds faster per lap than he was in practice this morning. Granquist, after one lap, after one heat, the first round of Mr. Motocross, was back in 8th position. Then he won round 2 at the Wallen circuit in Victoria a couple of weeks ago, and he came up into 3rd position. Now here at Clarendon in South Australia, he looks almost certain to take the lead, and there's the man that he wants to beat, Anthony Gunter. Twice Mr. Motocross in 1976 and 1977, and now back in a very disappointing 11th position. Stephen Gall, bike number 2, the Pepsi Yamaha, in 2nd position. He led Mr. Motocross today until today on 79 points. Now it seems almost certain that Pele Granquist, the Super Sweet, there on bike 78, hanging the tail out, is going to take over the lead in Mr. Motocross from Stephen Gall. And there's the checkered flag. Pele Granquist takes heat 3 of Pepsi Golden Breed Mr. Motocross at Clarendon and goes to the lead in the Pepsi Golden Breed Mr. Motocross Championship for 1978. A fantastic effort. To win this final heat to stay in the lead in Pepsi Golden Breed Mr. Motocross. Granquist has to win it to lead the series going into the final round. False start at the gate. False start at the gate. They'll be recalled. They don't know it yet, but they will be recalled. Okay, they're in the starter's hands. They're leading forward. Gunter, determined. The flag, it drops and they're away. It almost looked like a false start, but no, it's going to work. There goes Stephen Gall. He got a bad start, bad indeed, but he's now moving up in the lead. That bike number 35. There's Peter Nixon, Rob Nixon. He's done it. He's actually got into the lead.
35, Terry Wigzell from South Australia. And someone's down.
Trevor Flood now in 2nd position. In 3rd position, Stephen Gall. Granquist in 4th.
Well, with the young South Australian 250 machine out in the lead, this could make things interesting because the other top liners have now got to get past him. It was Jack Pengelly who slid down. It looked like his outline there, very hard to pick, but it was him sure enough. And it's 35, Terry Wigzell from South Australia, who's in the lead and being chased by Flood. Wigzell 250 and should be passed shortly. Only a 17-year-old lad and up against the best in Australia. And it's Trevor Flood who's right in behind him there.
Stephen Gall in 3rd position now. Gall has got to get up and claim maximum points. Wigzell trying everything a 17-year-old knows to stay ahead. He's riding on raw nerve and courage because he doesn't have the experience to stay ahead of these other people. It's all nerve that's getting Wigzell up there. In 2nd position, Flood. Flood not making any impression on this flying 250cc machine of Wigzell. On the inside. On the inside, Stephen Gall now moving up to pass Flood. Flood and Gall side by side in 2nd position. Now it's Gall on the tail of Wigzell, and Gall on the inside trying to pass Wigzell now. Flood on the outside, and it's Anthony Gunter in 4th position.
Well, this is racing as you like it as they go along the main straight, and it's still the young South Australian out in the lead. Really a flyer in racing. He's certainly learning a lot of tricks from the faster riders, but he's had the pressure put on him there by Trevor Flood. Trevor Flood sitting right in behind him. And Flood takes over now.
Stephen Gall on the outside, Pele Granquist right behind. So it's Grandquist in 4th position and Gall in front of him, and that's what really counts. And in 5th position is Anthony Gunter, Mr. Motocross champion. So they're all up there this time in the lead. There it is, Flood and Gall side by side now, with the young South Australian back in 3rd position. Gall up into the lead. Gall's trying, but no. Gunter slams across in front of him, shuts the gate. Says, no way, this is my motocross. Gall takes the inside line, trying to find traction there. And yes, he does. Gall takes the lead. Now, this is what Stephen Gall desperately needs. He must win this Mr. Motocross Series. He must win this heat.
Well, Gall's putting everything into this one. Was passed by Flood and then repassed him again with a fine piece of riding. A very heady piece of riding. Went for that corner and got it. And it's Stephen Gall now. He's leading Trevor Flood.
If Flood can stay in 2nd position, that means that that Grandquist loses more points again, and that's exactly what Stephen Gall is hoping for. Bike 33, Rob Braden from South Australia, they're stalled. But there goes Stephen Gall with Trevor Flood now dogging him right on his tail. And in 3rd position, it looks like Kelly Grandquist moving up into 3rd spot. Stephen Gall, the no-dive suspension on the front of his bike working so well, takes a narrow line there, not the chosen line at all, and he loses pace to Trevor Flood. Over the TAA jump, Stephen Gall, 4 laps remaining. Can he withstand the pressure of this sort of racing?
Stephen Gall has got to keep it on if he's going to go. Gall keeping it forward on. He needs these vital points. And it's number 2, Stephen Gall, who's in the lead there. Stephen Gall pouring it on. Coming through the muddy bits of it, trying to dry out a little bit now. And Gall's picking a path through them. And it's Stephen Gall with a fairly good lead there. There's Billy Grandquist.
Grandquist actually fell. The reason he's so far back at the moment is because Grandquist fell on the main straight. He's picked his bike up and he's away again. He's in 7th position. Grandquist is back in 7th position. Stephen Gall doesn't know this. He now is in the lead in the Mr. Motocross Championship for 1978, and he doesn't know that his major protagonist, Kelly Grandquist, there on bike 78, is so far back now. Stephen Gall and Grandquist is all over the place. That fall has really knocked him because Grandquist almost came off again there. He's cool. The feeling that these riders get for a track, they have to put a certain rhythm together. It sounds strange when you see such a bumpy track, but they have to adopt a rhythm to be able to ride round here, and Grandquist's rhythm has well and truly gone. And there he is, that's the leader, Stephen Gall, in 1st position in the Mr. Motocross Championship. Trevor Flood, of course, back in 2nd position. Gall's bike dances all over the track. He almost came down into Kentucky Fried Corner, but he's managed to keep it erect. Bike number 35, the local rider, Terry Wixell, 17 years of age, so good. There goes Stephen Gall through the trees. The bike dancing over the track, over the jump. The late afternoon sun beaming down upon him, making it hard for him to see. The crowd in his way, he can't see. He's got one hand off. What's wrong with Stephen Gall? He took his hand off there for a moment. Has he hurt himself? It appears not, because he's riding still well. Still front wheel way up in the air. Another bike down, but Gall goes past, and there's Grandquist coming up onto the main straight.
Grandquist throwing everything into it, trying to pick up that ground. He's got a lot of deficit to make up and not many laps to do it in, but certainly if anyone can do it, Grandquist can. Although in this lap, Stephen Gall is going so well that it is very, very difficult indeed to pass. Stephen Gall currently leading in leg 4 of round 3 of Mr. Motocross here at Clarendon.
Whichever way it goes, the final at Amaroo Park in Sydney in September the 10th is going to be one of the hardest fought motocross championships we've ever seen, because by the look of it, we'll have Gall, Grandquist, Trevor Flood and Anthony Gunter, all capable of winning the 1978 Pepsi Golden Reed Mr. Motocross Championship. Stephen Gall at the moment, however, has got to be the hot favourite for the Amaroo round. There he is, through the Pepsi quarry for the 5th time. Up the slippery hill and onto the main straight, over TAA jump. The last lap flag going out for Stephen Gall. Just one more grueling lap of this circuit to go. Can he hold it together?
Stephen Gall's only got to stay upright for this whole lap, and he's got it. But anything can happen in Mr. Motocross with the standard of riders that they've got.
Anthony Gunter back in 3rd position. Stephen Gall there in the lead. Through the trees again. The last time for Stephen Gall today. His muscles aching by this time. He's done 23.5 laps for this grueling circuit. but yet he's still lapping in 1 minute 49 seconds. Now that's a bit slower. We saw Granquist lapping the last heat. Granquist was down to 1:45. Gore easing off to a 1:49, but still, can you imagine the pressure that's going into him? See the belt round his waist. That's called a kidney belt because the pressure that goes into the riders is so great that they need all sort of positive support around their solar plexus.